who are the most important players when it comes to week one of the college football season? I said it yesterday, Florida and Miami. I think the most important player in that game, but definitely for Florida, is Trey Wilson, wide receiver. True sophomore. The reason why I think he's so important is because he is the most dynamic player in this game, the most dynamic player on Florida's offense. And if you get him going early in this game, and they will try to get him going early, you unlock Pandora's box for the way that Miami has to defend you. Like, again, I said this before. It'll be jet sweeps. It'll be quick game. It'll be vertical. You get him double-digit touches. And when that happens, one, you get your best player of the football and allow him to impact the game early. That's the obvious part. The other part is you can, over the course of the game now, even use him as a decoy. Because once Trey Wilson has 75 yards in the first half and a touchdown, you start to really pay extra attention to number 3. And when that happens, we got counter in the run game going. We got other wide receivers getting open, whether it be Shamir Dike or Andy Jean or Mizell. Anybody that you want to talk about gets more space to work with because there's more attention paid to Trey Wilson. So however you slice it, if Trey Wilson has a big game, I believe that is a prerequisite to Florida winning that football game. College football fans, it's week one. We need you locked in over here at the On3 YouTube channel. The best way to be locked in for college football season is by making sure you're subscribed right here. Analysis, intel, takes, all that. We appreciate you in advance for being subscribed. Now, on the other side of things, I think you could also make a very strong case for Cam Ward being one of the most important players of week one. And this is just a layup. Like, I've talked so much. I mean, you've heard me ad nauseum now say this. Hey, the Swamp's a tough place to play. Hey, new pieces for Miami. Hey, can they handle that atmosphere? And the reality is, if Cam Ward walks out there and just gets buckets, like, that could be the way this game goes. I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. There's a very real possibility that Cam Ward walks out there in the Swamp, his pulse stays pretty level, and he's just him that day. And I promise you, when your quarterback is able to set that competitive temperature that we're not going to flinch, everybody else on that team feeds off of that and will follow him as he goes. So Cam Ward, we know what he brings from a skill set perspective. This offense as a whole under Shannon Dawson will go through number one in Cam Ward. But I'm just saying, how he responds to the Swamp overall could just be the difference maker. Could change the entire complexion of the game. Another big game, you got Georgia, you got Clemson. Peter Woods, another true sophomore, you need a legacy game from him to beat Georgia. Okay, he's 6'3", 315. My question for him and the task for him is, can you anchor the defensive line? Can you hold it down on the line of scrimmage? Because Georgia's offensive line, I mean, they're some studs now, right? Like they're some maulers. And Georgia is going to, I believe, try to establish the line of scrimmage. Pretty obvious. I don't think Peter Woods needs to stuff the stat sheet and have 3 tackles for a loss and a pass deflection and 5 tackles. Great if he does. But his task for me, again, can you anchor the line of scrimmage and just allow us to hold our water up there? Because if you're able to eat up a block or 2 blocks, Barrett Carter has a chance to knife in there and get a tackle. You allow the rest of this defense to swarm and give yourself a chance. That's really what this is all about to me. This is all about, can you hold the line and give us a chance up front? Okay, I think with what he brings to the table, that is going to be the key for Clemson defensively. That's why he's so massive. Because if he's not able to do that, and Georgia's able to get the run game going, what we said yesterday, everything else opens up for Georgia. Everything else opens up, because then you have to be dishonest with how you play the run. You got to add in a safety. You leave real estate downfield. Georgia's probably at that point, if you're not able to hold it down up front, I mean, they're getting 4 or 5 yards of carry. It gets messy. It gets very, very messy. So Peter Woods, a massive part of what Clemson needs to do to win this football game against Georgia. Now, Jeremiah Love is a running back for Notre Dame. He is lightning in a bottle. And I said it yesterday, I think he is a guy that is going to be a name everybody knows in the college football public after Saturday. Because the thing with him is, in a game like this, where I think roster talent with Notre Dame and Texas A&M is pretty similar, you need someone who is the matchup breaker. Like, who is the guy that you're able to find that extra edge in? For Jeremiah Love, both running the football and then however you get it to him in space, whether you want to split him out in the slot throw him the ball out of the backfield. Like, he is one of those guys that I think can be that matchup differentiator for you and find you that extra edge if you match him up on a linebacker or a safety can't tackle him in space, whatever it looks like. They're going to be creative with it. I believe Mike Denbrock will make it a point to feed him the football. And the thing, too, we talk so much about all the speed that Notre Dame has on the perimeter. A&M knows that. Like, A&M's going to, I believe, honor that to some degree. If they don't, well, then goes to Riley Leonard. Can you hit the shot downfield? That's one part of this. But I think they'll do a pretty good job trying to defend that, at least early. The thing with Jeremiah Love is he's that guy that holds that presence for you, I believe, underneath. Him and the tight ends for Notre Dame. Check it down to him, 5 yards, let him work, turn 5 into 15, we're off and running. That's the way that Jeremiah Love, I think, can impact this game. Last player I want to talk about here, LSU linebacker Harold Perkins. In this game against USC, I think it's going to be about possessions. I think that we talk about the improvement needed for both sides on defense. You hope that reflects itself if you're a USC and an LSU fan, but it really could come down to who has the ball more times. In that kind of spot, when it's about who has the ball more times, Harold Perkins, I believe, at worst is a havoc wreaker. At best, he's a possession getter. He forced 3 fumbles last year, had a pick. I think he's capable of doing more than that. I believe with Blake Baker now calling the shots for LSU defensively, they are going to let him cook. They're going to play to his skill set. Now, is that he's coming off the edge every play and trying to sack the quarterback? Probably not, but you hear what I'm saying. They're going to utilize the heat-seeking missile that Harold Perkins is, and if he's able to create mayhem like we've seen him do now multiple times, that's going to change the entire complexion of this game. If he can steal possessions, LSU will win. So Harold Perkins, in that way, absolutely one of the most important players of Week 1. Trey Wilson from Florida as well, the receiver. Cam Ward from Miami, the quarterback. Both those guys will have a massive say in what happens in that game. Peter Woods, can you anchor the D-line against Georgia? Just can't get knocked off the ball. If that happens, now it's going to be a long day for Clemson. And then Jeremiah Love, just an absolute weapon in every sense, both underneath, freeing up the vertical pass game, what he does running the football. Like, I'm excited to see him work. So those are our most important players of Week 1 of this college football season. Should be a good time. The hard count this season, we told y'all yesterday on the live show, we're partnering with Prize Picks to squeeze the absolute juice out of this college football season and every single college football weekend, especially on Saturday. Prize Picks, for those of y'all that rode with us last year, it's a blast. It is super easy to use, super comprehensive. The way that it works, you'll get some player projections on their board. You pick 2 players. You pick the more or less on their projections. Got yourself a lineup. You pick 2 or more players, rather. Got yourself a lineup. You're off to the races. Okay, so right now, it's worth noting, Prize Picks is offering essentially a free square with Jalen Milroe and his passing yards. They're giving you a half pass yard for Jalen Milroe. So you pair Jalen Milroe a half a passing yard, take the more there. I personally have already taken the more on Travis Hunter's receiving yards against North Dakota State. Lock it in. It's going to be a good time. All right, so go to prizepicks.com, use code HARDCOUNT, receive a guaranteed $50 in promo funds once you play $5 in lineups. Again, go to prizepicks.com or download the PrizePicks app, use code HARDCOUNT, receive a guaranteed $50 in promo funds once you play $5 in lineups. Again, super easy to use, safe, easy withdrawal, win real money making correct picks. Prize Picks, again, bringing all of the action to us this year on this show, The Hard Count. We'll also tweet out our lineups over on my socials, at Jody Piquel on Twitter and on Instagram. So I guess post on Instagram and tweet on Twitter, X, whatever they're calling it. Prize Picks, let's get after it. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.